A government project lasts longer than a human lifetime. True or false?
True.
Definitely true.
Power failure or NEPA sleeping lights is so normal that we actually plan around it. True or false?
True.
True.
And then lastly, corruption is condemned loudly, very loudly, and still practiced loudly. True or false?
True.
So
True.
this is our discussion. Let's go. We are underdeveloped, but still under discipline. Let's go. What's your take on this, Mr. Israel?
Um, I think on the development and on the discipline, somehow there are ripple effects of the fact that as a nation, we have not chosen to improve and to build on ourselves. You see, one of the best or the greatest resources any country can have is the human resource. I was going through some certain things during the week, and I noticed that about the same time North Korea was starting to rebuild. That was the same time Ghana was also starting to rebuild their country. But along the line, 10, 20, 50 years later, you can tell that there's a massive difference because there's no vision. You see, the people we don't work with visions. You see people come into power and they neglect the projects that were once prospectively going to, take the country to greater heights. You'll see a sitting president, once he comes into power, he stops the projects of the former president to issue his own projects, all because he wants his own person or his own people, to benefit from that project. Projects that were commissioned even 20 years ago, we are just seeing them being executed now. Now, you see that this is a flaw because we do not necessarily have a vision, and it's because we have not chosen to build the people that can sustain a vision. Everybody we have been producing, every outcome that the country has been given, we are dishing out a people that have this consumer mindset. We do not necessarily have a common goal that every member of society is working towards.
Yeah.
Everybody, we are just disjointed. We have different beliefs. So I believe it all boils down to investing hugely and effectively in the human capital of the country.
Okay, let's go over to Miss Robinson.
All right. So, like he said, everybody's disjointed. The major issue Africa has is that everybody wants to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Nobody is willing to take up the responsibility of continuing what someone else started because of their personal gains towards that particular project. Everybody is looking to just be like, oh, okay, this is my thing. I want my name to be known, not necessarily for something someone else already started. Everybody wants to be recognized, and that is where the problem is. There has to be someone that starts and people that follow up until it is completed.
I get you. I get you. And I really understand. We complain about broken systems, and then we ourselves, we actively participate in breaking them. Africa in itself is one of the largest continents. We have land, we have talent, we have youth, we have resources. And yet we're still negotiating basic necessities like water, clean water, electricity, and functioning roads. If you hear the West talk about us, it's always, oh, Africa has potential, so much potential. But I think that we have reached that point that this potential they keep saying should become an insult. We should leave potential as okay. Let's work towards it. So next thing, corruption is not just a leadership issue. Let's stop lying. Corruption is not just about politicians. Let's bring it down here, like bring it down here. We take bribes for basic services. That's known. Everybody knows that. Small things like cutting corners and all, that's corruption. Nepotism is disguised as helping my people. And then we're celebrating wealth. Especially there are some places that we know that you see a 16-year-old, a 13-year-old driving a certain car, and you are celebrating it without asking questions. How did you get this? We celebrate wealth without asking questions. We hate corruption in theory. There's nowhere, everywhere we have to stop corruption, but we enjoy the benefits it practices. This contradiction is killing our progress here in Africa. What do you have to say, Mr. William?
Well, like I said earlier, you see, one thing about Africa at large is the fact that Africans are need driven. We always put our needs first. And if you are going to satisfy your needs, you should know that the needs of a human being are insatiable. You cannot exhaust the needs of a man. If you eat today, you are going to be hungry tomorrow, right? So there's something we need to break free from the yoke of need. We need to break free from the yoke of what do I want and see beyond ourselves. There's a Chinese proverb that says, if every man will plant a tree for his grandchild, very soon, in time to come, every grandchild will be set up. Scripture also solidifies that point. It says, a man leaveth an inheritance not for his child, but for his children's children. Now, this is a futuristic mindset. This is a mindset of, it's not going to change overnight, but it will start with me. You are taking action, even though you're not going to benefit from that change as at when it's starting, as at when you are going to put, your feet on the ground and say, this is when it starts. You may not necessarily benefit from the change. Most of the people that fought for independence, a lot of them did not get to really see the independence that they fought for, but you are able to see that their children lived in a better country. Their descendants look at Fela, for instance. Fela was someone that during his day was considered a rebel. But currently we are celebrating Fela. Fela was not celebrated during his time as much as we are doing now. Fela, his genre of music has now become what we know as Afrobeats. Fela is now studied throughout the world. Why is that? It's because someone chose to rise up and challenge the status quo. Now, one thing about corruption is that you cannot nip it in the bud overnight. That's something we all have to come to terms with. Either we like it or not, many of us have participated one way or another in corruption, right? Because it's like, if you are not corrupt, you can't really benefit from the system. We have integrated corruption into the system such that it has eaten deep into the fabric of our nature. You can see children, they are not reading for exams, but they know they will pass. And the teachers will still come and challenge them. Why are you not doing your assignment? Why should I do my assignment? You just helped someone else pass. It's great. It's definitely going to be my turn someday. And I know that I just have to work to get the money.
Sure.
And once I get the money, I know you are going to work your magic. And so we are creating people that are mentally lazy. We are creating people. You see, corruption is such that it has different branches. It's diversifying into everything. We have incompetent people in positions they should not be because of corruption. You spoke about nepotism, and nepotism is also, there's a way people max incompetence. Oh, this person has helped me before, that person has helped me before. It's almost like the issue of feminism, so to say. I say feminism I am a very huge feminist, but the way I define feminism is, as long as the lady is qualified for that role, a lady should be given the same rights as a man. Not every lady should have equal rights to a man. Are you qualified? Can you handle it? Can you work it out? Can you get the results we are getting? If we have a result-oriented, thinking and a result-oriented mindset, we will see that we are doing more harm than good to ourselves. We are killing our economy through corruption. Inflation is rising by the day. Why? Because people that are in power, a lot of people, do not know what they should do. We rejoice at the fact that the last elections that happened in Nigeria now, there was a statement made, and a lot of people, I was in Ilorin at that certain time. A woman came to me and she told me that, let's vote in our own person. He will help us from his town. Do you understand? That is a belief that this person, every other person can suffer. But do you understand? This tribalism, even in religion, you see that people who should not be corrupt are the ones practicing corruption in different uniforms or in different masquerading in different attires. Corruption such that you see people that they own things, they ought to do things according to a certain protocol, respectably, or people of high repute that ought to do things according to a certain protocol because they want to benefit or they want to serve the purposes of some certain select few, or they want to give people that they have relations with leverage. It now turns that they negate what they won't speak about and start to practice a different thing. So in the real sense of it, I don't believe that we can evacuate corruption totally overnight. But I believe that it's a gradual process with time and with information and intentional education. You see, this is the key. The people who must demand a change, they said he that must, how is that saying? Must come with clean hands. The person demanding for posterity must come with clean hands. There's There's a saying like that. I can't really get it
I
now.
can't-
But we have to first work on ourselves.
Yeah.
That is the goal. The change begins with us. It starts with every individual. He that is going to come first should have a clean hand. You can't teach a person something you do not have. You can't give what you don't have. You can't give a record of, you don't have a record of transparency, and you now say you want to mentor the next generation. Definitely, you are going to teach them the errors you have learned over time because you have not lived according to the principles which you think you want to. Such is the issue of political power. A lot of people are coming into office without track records. You cannot defend your manifesto. You can't tell us things you have done. You can't give us examples of places that you have worked and we have gotten results. And the people who have results, we push them aside on the basis of this person. If this person comes into power, this person is going to be stingy. Money is not going to circulate. Corruption is what circulates money. We have different mindsets in the nation, and it's really killing us because the superpowers of the world, the people that really control the world, they focus on development.
Yeah.
They focus on their future. Yes, we can't say corruption is not going to be there, but there is a primary responsibility on everybody in society to make sure that this thing is put in place. And that is something we need to ask everyone in Nigeria. Everyone in Nigeria should know the vision of Nigeria for the next 30 years. And with any party coming in, anybody coming in to any power, any political office, we all know that we are working towards this goal. It is plain to everyone. Yeah, we're all driving towards the same direction. Not someone doing things and another person comes and says, that thing that was done is not needed. Let's go this way. And we have different abandoned projects due to corruption, the funny thing about life is corruption in itself, it comes from, will I say, people not being, I believe it comes from a point where people are not, they have a low self-esteem. You don't believe in yourself enough that you can get these things without being dubious.
So you decide to
There's no confidence in you. Yes. That is what I tell people. If you are corrupt, it means you don't believe in yourself to be able to manufacture this outcome. You have to cheat to get it. Because if you really know that there's something within you, there's a deposit within you, and you are more than this, you should know that there's something within you can bring out to get more than this. Aliko Dangote is the richest man in Africa, undoubtedly. But imagine if he started by cutting corners, and we might not have Dangote in the measure which we have today. And one thing with resources is it doesn't last forever. These things are transient. They come to go. They're just a phase of life. And so you have to keep on stealing and stealing to keep and maintain these guys of wealth that you are putting up. So I believe every individual, corruption in itself, we need to work as a collective. We can't work individually. We need to work as a collective. We need to sensitize our people. And we also need to come with a track record of consistency, track record of doing good. I believe with this, we can now begin to talk about a changing nation.
Yeah.
Or raising the next generation of change makers.
Thank you. So I'm not going to you. He said something that leading into your question. So he said something about resources finished. And one thing I personally believe is that the fact that we have here in Africa, it has made us a bit lazy. There are nations that don't have resources, they don't have a lot, but they're doing so well in infrastructure, like they're doing very well. Abundance has made us lazy. Natural resources has slowed Africa. Scarcity has forced efficiency, and abundance allows waste. What do you think? When money comes easily, planning becomes optional. We know that no need to plan. This is always there. When consequences are rare, like here in Africa, discipline disappears. So what do you think? What do you have to say about us having so much in Africa that has made us lazy and just not? Are we even lazy?
Funny enough, I would say no.
Yeah.
Because if you look around, even Africans that go outside, you find out that they're actually way more hardworking than other people they meet out there. The problem, I don't really think the problem is the manpower. The problem is the mind of the people. Because Africans have the energy to work. Africans do jobs on a daily that other people cannot even handle. If they try, they'll be like, I can't sustain this. And people do it on a daily. Imagine you see a woman of 70 actively going to the farm. Most people at that age are already in retirement homes where they are being taken care of. They have people that tend to their daily needs. Meanwhile, an African woman, an African man of 80 is still actively going to the farm with his hoe every morning. Wake up first thing in the morning, go to the farm, and then get back late in the evening. So you would not tell me that Africans are lazy. I feel like the problem is our mindset. The issue with Africans is that, like we've earlier said, everybody is looking to gain something. There was an incident that happened. I was in the market, and then there was this guy that was selling. There was something he was selling. The person that wanted to buy said he had an application for around 6K, while he was pricing his for 12K. That is double.
Corruption.
Double.
Corruption.
100% increase on what it should be. And you won't tell me that that person that sold for 6K did not have any profit. And then you are doubling the price. It became a whole issue. And the guy that was selling was standing on the fact that, well, this is a market now. If you don't want to buy, go somewhere else.
Crazy. Crazy. It's
the audacity.
You are obviously being corrupt, and it's like
we find so many excuses. We look for so many excuses to give for the reasons why, in one way or another, we participate in corruption. The truth is, you spoke about nepotism, but let's be real, let's be factual. If your family member today gets into a position of power, are you telling me that somewhere in your mind, you wouldn't have this expectation of, okay, this is my family member? Definitely, one way or another, I am going to benefit from the fact that my family member is in a position of power. So to be very honest, corruption is in the little things we do every day, both intentional and unintentional. Like Africans, or should I say, let me limit this to Nigerians for now. Nigerians have this entitlement mindset.
see what he
Feel
did with
very
Aisha.
entitled.
Aisha Speed, the guy who came to see what he did. Just the guy, the strong guy that asked for
$10,000.
no work. You have mind to ask for 10,000. No work. Sorry, continue.
Nigerians have this entitlement mindset where wheresoever we get the chance to benefit, we make sure we exploit it to the highest position possible, which isn't supposed to be. But then everybody would complain, the government. Meanwhile, the little responsibilities we are actually supposed to be taken care of as citizens, everybody abandons. Every single person abandons. So when we abandon our responsibilities, the truth is the government will do what they can, and they will leave the rest. No, let's say at least the government will do what they can and leave the rest. But the truth is, we all depend on the government to take care of everything. We don't see those little things that should be our responsibility as the people. Which is why, even with resources and everything that is available, the government is doing theirs, but we are not doing ours. So there is no way, when two hands that are supposed to be working together are separated, there is no way things can go so smoothly. It's not possible. So we need to actually be realistic with ourselves. We need to realize that these things are things we actually do on a regular and intentionally work on changing them. And then maybe after changing ourselves is when we can now start to tiptoe forward little by little.
You heard her. These conversations are not necessarily talking about our government and what we want to change. It's talking about us. What are the little steps we can take to make Africa great? What are the little things, actions we can do to make Africa great? Africa does not need another summit. It does not need another manifesto. It does not need another inspirational speech. Africa needs dynamics, need enforcement. We need discipline. We need the courage to become confident to get what we want. And we need consequences for actions that don't take us forward. What are you doing to make Africa great? Development is boring, it's repetitive, it's uncomfortable, but what which is exactly why we keep avoiding it. Let us stop avoiding development. Let us stop wanting to move forward. Let's stop pointing fingers and ask ourselves, what can we do to make Africa great? So this is the end of our conversation on Africa Talks. Subscribe, share, and like. And don't forget to read the New Africa magazine. Peace out, guys. Please say bye.
Thank you. Thank you for watching.